Families are built on trust, love, and the belief that no matter what, you'll always have each other. But what happens when a single secret shatters that bond? What happens when the truth comes too late, when the damage is already done? This is the story of how one confession turned a loving family into strangers, and eventually into tragedy. We were the picture of perfection, or so it seemed. My parents, Henry and Claire, were high school sweethearts who built a life together from nothing. My sister Emily was the golden child, top grades, scholarships, and dreams of becoming a surgeon. And then there was me, Luke, the black sheep, the one who never quite measured up. But for all our differences, we were a family, or at least I thought we were. It was my dad's birthday and we'd all come together to celebrate. The table was full of food, and for the first time in a while, everyone seemed happy. But that night, something felt different. There was a tension in the air, like an unspoken truth hovering over us. And then, as the candles burned down and the laughter faded, my mother stood up. She said she had something to tell us, something that couldn't wait any longer. She looked at each of us, her hands trembling, and then she said it. "I've been keeping a secret for over 20 years. The words hung in the air like a knife. My dad, who had just been laughing moments ago, went pale. Emily put down her fork, her eyes wide with confusion. And me? I just sat there waiting for the bomb to drop. And oh, did it drop. Henry, Luke isn't your son. In that moment, it felt like the world stopped spinning. My dad's face twisted with disbelief. His hands clenched into fists. Emily's chair screeched as she pushed back from the table, her face a mix of shock and anger. And me? I felt like I couldn't breathe. My entire existence, everything I thought I knew about who I was, shattered in an instant. What the hell are you talking about, Claire? Are you serious? After all these years, you tell me this now? My mum tried to explain. She said it was a mistake. A one-night lapse in judgment that she had buried for the sake of the family. She swore it didn't mean anything, that it was a secret she never wanted to reveal. But my dad wasn't hearing any of it. He left, just like that. Emily started crying, yelling at my mum for destroying the family. And me? I just sat there, numb, as the people I loved most tore each other apart. The next day, my dad said he needed time to think. He packed a bag and left, slamming the door behind him. Emily wouldn't speak to my mum, and I couldn't even look at her. Every time I tried, all I could think about was the lie she'd been living, and the lie I'd been living because of her. But the worst part, the doubt. Was I really part of this family? Did I even belong here? And who was my real father? My mum refused to say. She said it didn't matter, but it mattered to me. We all came together again, my dad, my mum, Emily and me. My mum wanted to fix things to make us whole again, but by then the cracks were too deep. My dad was cold, distant. Emily refused to look at anyone, and then my dad said something that made it all worse. If Luke isn't mine, then why should I stay? It was like a dagger to my heart. My mum begged him to reconsider, to remember the years he'd spent raising me. But to him, it didn't matter anymore. The betrayal was too much. In the weeks that followed, everything fell apart. My dad filed for divorce. Emily moved out and stopped answering my calls. And my mum, she just shut down. She barely ate, barely spoke. The guilt consumed her. A month later, my mum took her own life. She left a note apologising for everything. She said she never meant to hurt us, that she loved us all more than anything. But by then, it was too late. The damage was done. My dad never came back. Emily stayed distant. And me? I'm left with the pieces of a family that used to be whole, all because of one secret, one choice, one moment of weakness. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. The truth has a way of coming out, no matter how deeply you try to bury it. And when it does, it doesn't just set you free, it can destroy everything you've built. Secrets can save us, but they can also destroy us. Share your thoughts below.